Hey everyone, today Bungie just dropped the Dual Destiny Exotic mission. This is like the Whisper mission on steroids. It is absolutely insanely fun. From it, you can get your exotic class items. So I'm going to be showing you how to spawn the mission, how to enter it, and how to solve some of the puzzles within it. And if you found this guide useful and you used it to get your exotic class items, please consider subscribing. So in order to get the Dual Destiny Exotic mission to show up, you need to complete the boss level of the Overthrow at all 3 main locations. So you need to go through all 3 tiers and kill the boss in the landing, in the blooming, and at the impasse. When you do this, there will be some dialogue after the boss, and then in the bottom left corner, you will see a secret keeper of the Witch Queen is near. Now, Sparrow, all around the area that you are currently in, it'll be like in that. So if you just did the landing Overthrow, it'll be in the landing. Ours was in this cave. I'm not sure if it's in the same place every time. But when you get there, there will be a yellow bar wizard called the Secret Keeper of the Witch Queen. Then just kill it, and in the chat, you will see a Secret Keeper has been vanquished. Now you need to go to the other areas and do this. So when you have done this in all 3 major areas of Overthrow, if you look up in the sky, you will see this giant gold light just shining away right into the sky. This is actually coming from the area, the Refraction, which is like the Dreaming City looking area. So you and 1 friend need to make your way over there. You have to have 2 people and only 2 people to do this. You can't do it solo and you can't do it with 3 people. When you get to the Refraction, there will be 2 pyramid ship shards, kind of separate from each other. Each one is going to have a ton of enemies spawning around it, and if you go ahead and kill them, eventually a subjugator will spawn. One will be stasis, one will be strand. You can do this together or separate, it doesn't really matter. But when you get those subjugators weak enough, they're going to phase away, and they're going to drop a fragment of a certain type. So, like, I got the darkness one, and in the gameplay, you can see my friend Ritz here, he got the light one. These disappear if you leave them on the ground for too long, so make sure you don't. But you pick them up, and then you will see an objective marker over in the distance. When you bring the orbs to this Savathun statue, there will be some Root of Nightmare style plates that you can dunk them on. Of course, the darkness ball to the darkness one, the light one to the light one. Then this will spawn the flag to start the Dual Destiny mission. Now, this is very important. Once again, you need exactly 2 people to do this. One of you needs to be on the light subclass, and one of you needs to be on a dark subclass, or you can be on prismatic. That counts as both. Now you can go ahead and start the mission. So you spawn in, you're going to see a couple of plates. One is darkness and one is light. If you slam the darkness ball, you're going to be the darkness guy, or if you have the darkness subclass on. That was me throughout this. So that's the gameplay you're going to be seeing. The other person, your friend, is going to be the light bearer. So throughout the mission, there's going to be sort of these plates all through it. This isn't going to be a super step-by-step guide, but throughout the mission, you're going to see these plates. You're always going to be assigned to the plate that you were assigned at the beginning. So I am darkness throughout the entire mission. So once you spawn in the mission, you're going to make your way back throughout Refraction. And this is where you're going to find the first big puzzle. You're going to open up a couple of those doors that I was talking about where you have to stand on both the plates. Then you're going to make your way into where the Moth Cavern Cyst is. And then you're going to find 3 separate rooms. That's going to be your first puzzle challenge. When you're in this area, make sure you're just killing enemies, and then eventually you'll see some Darkness Knights and some Light Centurions spawn. When the Darkness Knights are killed, the dark aligned person can walk over, pick up the motes, and the same thing with the light person and the Light Centurion. These motes will allow you to see symbols around the area. And there's 3 main rooms that this puzzle happens in, and you will kind of flip-flop roles. So in this first room, I was dark. I was able to see these little pyramid structures floating that had small symbols above them. My friend Ritz, who is light aligned, on a lower level could see 2 pedestals that had larger symbols floating. And the idea was he had to tell me which 2 symbols he could see, and then I would shoot the matching symbols in the sky. It's super important that you actually shoot them in the same order that they appear. So even if you shoot a correct symbol that your friend can see, but you do it out of order, it will still fail you. And it's fine. It doesn't really hurt you. It just wastes some time. This entire mission is timed. You get some time back at each encounter, but it is pretty tight on time. When you do it correctly, when you shoot the correct symbols in the correct order, it will say paracausal energy gathers around you. But when you shoot the incorrect symbol or in the incorrect order, it'll say the paracausal energy dissipates. And then everything will just respawn. You'll have to re-kill your enemies, re-gate your motes, remake the callouts. So you will do this in a series of 3 rooms. You'll probably switch roles a couple of times. So sometimes you'll be the shooty guy, sometimes you'll be the ready guy, but It's pretty simple, all things considered. Then you're going to make your way through a very extensive jump puzzle. And I'm not really going to show you step by step. It's pretty simple. It's in a straight line. There is one room that is a little tricky. I'll show it right here, where you actually have to go to the bottom left. That took us a couple of seconds to figure out. But for the most part, you're just walking through this jump puzzle, making sure that you're keeping track of the plate. So sometimes Dark will have to stand on a dark plate while Light stands on a light plate to open up the next area, and so forth. Then you'll make it to the next puzzle. This is a pretty small room. I recommend Tormentor killing weapons, so things like linears, sniper rifles, Forerunner, Divinity would probably not hurt, that sort of thing. There is a rally flag here as well. In the front of the room, you will see something that looks like a clock. It's made up of the totems from Vow of the Disciple, and you will be able to shoot them at a certain part in the fight, but not right now. The idea is that you are able to see 3 that are turned off, and your friend can see another 3 that are turned off. So we labeled these 1 through 9 going left to right. I would type the 3 that were off for me, and Ritz would type the 3 that were off for him. Then you go through the fight, you kill the Tormentor, and whoever kills the Tormentor will get a buff that allows them to shoot those totems. So Ritz would kill the Tormentor, and then you have to shoot the 3 darkness totem switches that neither of us see. So in my gameplay, you can see 5, 6, and 8 are off. Ritz calls out that 1, 7, and 9 are off for him. So that means 2, 3, and 4 are on for both of us, and those are the ones the person with the buff needs to shoot. When this is done correctly, it will say Light and Darkness Surge, Destabilizing, and Obelisk. Then you just have to do it 2 more times. There are 3 pyramid shards floating. Every time you do it correctly, 1 will disappear. If you do it incorrectly, it's still not really a big deal. You just have to redo that phase, kill the Tormentor again. Your symbols will change. You'll have to remake out the calls and that sort of stuff. So you have plenty of time in this section. Once you do this correctly 3 times, you'll be able to go on to the next section, which is once again a little bit more of traversal and jump puzzle and that sort of thing. And then you'll make it to the final boss. These are the 2 big subjugators from earlier, like way before the mission, 1 strand and 1 stasis one. Whittle down the boss. The first boss will ask you to do the first symbol mechanic again. So a couple of wizards will spawn, kill your respective wizard. So if you're dark, kill the dark one. If you're light, kill the light one. This will give you the buff that'll allow one of you to see the symbols and one of you to shoot the symbols. Call out what symbols you see in the correct order, your friend will shoot them, or vice versa, and then you're able to do damage once again to the subjugator. Once you have it down to a 3rd health, it will go behind a barrier, and this strand subjugator will spawn. Go ahead and whittle down his health, and then eventually he'll go immune, and you'll have to do a variation of that clock mechanic again. However, this one is slightly more difficult and slightly different. You and your friend can see different walls. So I saw the clocks on the left, Ritz could see the clocks on the right. 4 of your pillars will be active at one time. 4 of your friend's pillars will be active at one time. So very quickly, you have to call out which positions are lit up at the same time and shoot your 1 overlap. And I would recommend just reading these off like a clock. I think that's probably the easiest. So in this example that I have screenshotted here, my lines are on 12, 4, 7, and 8. I don't remember what Ritz's were off the top of my head, but one of them was 8. So he read off his times. We both had 8, so we both shot that one. When you do that 3 times correctly, then the barriers housing the bosses will despawn, and you'll be able to take both of them out. They'll both have a 3rd health. Just make sure you kill them, and then you are rewarded with the chest room. Or are you? I'm going to leave the next part as a secret. Just know you have to make a choice, and it doesn't really matter what choice you make for your loot. Just keep that in mind. I'm going to leave it there. In order to get more exotic class items, I think you can farm this mission, and I've also heard that the API says that you can get them from random chests in the Pale Heart as well, if you want to farm that way. I do not know that for sure. I'll leave a pinned comment down below if I find out one way or another. Either way, enjoy this mission. It is an absolute masterpiece. It is a ton of fun. Go in and enjoy it with your friends. If you have any questions, let me know down below. I'll do my best to answer everything. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic night.